Welcome to Glasgow Rangers Nation with me, your host, Owen James. Welcome to the Sunday supplement. We're going to talk, obviously, transfer stories. We're going to talk about players who actually signed. We're going to talk a little bit about the issues with the Hamza Igamane deal, which may affect his involvement from the start of pre-season. A few issues with that. We will obviously talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the signings. We're going to talk about the issues as well over possibly sharing Murrayfield as well, and policing issues, etc. Well, let's start off with the news. Obviously, yesterday that we broke here, we talked on the channel about the signing of Hamza Igamane, the 21-year-old striker from FAR Rabat in Morocco. The guy who has made 23 appearances, scored 7 goals, 6 assists, 13 goal contributions in those 23 games for his club team, FAR Rabat. Now, Igamane comes with a big reputation and lots of promise. A player who is in the Morocco under-23 squad, is well tipped to as well move up to the full Morocco squad very soon indeed. A player very much tipped to follow in the footsteps of the likes, obviously, of Hakim Ziyech, for example, and others. So, look, this is a very talented young lad, a very good young lad, a player who was joining the interest of other European clubs too. So I think Rangers are very fortunate to sign Hamza Igamane. Apparently, he will be announced on Monday. Also, rumours as well that Youssouf Kabadai, the Bayern Munich youth winger, could also be announced Monday as well. Final terms over Igamane's deal are a 5-year contract, which is a good long contract to have him on, which means, look, let's face it, so a couple of years down the line, 2-3 years down the line, if this player improves and is as good as we think he is going to be, he's a player we could flip for an awful lot of cash down the road and make a nice big fat profit on him. Now, transfer fee, I've seen 2 transfer fees reported for Hamza. The first one, 1.5 million. The second one, 2.5 million. I think 1.5 million is more realistic. I think the 2.5 million is in those stories that are rumoring that we're going to sign Youssouf Kabadai as well, announce him Monday. That's, I think, where that is coming from. However, it wouldn't be a Rangers transfer deal, would it? Without a slight issue with this transfer deal, a slight little problem. That's Rangers, isn't it? We know that. We've followed this club long enough. We've all suffered long enough. Now, the Paris Olympics are coming up this year. I've got to say, I'd completely forgotten about the Olympics. Not a tournament I watched. The last ones I watched was London 2012 for obvious reasons. Since then, I've not really watched the Olympics. I don't really get into them. I'm not a big fan of the Olympics. I think they're a bit irrelevant these days. However, Hamza Igamane will be at the Olympics with Morocco, as the Moroccan under-23 football team will participate in the Olympic football tournament. Now, as you can see, this means that he will be away with that team between the 24th of July and the 9th of August, meaning that not only will he miss a substantial part of pre-season, he will also as well be unavailable for the start of the league campaign on the 3rd of August, should Morocco make it all the way to the final, or at least semi-finals, or wherever. There's every chance that they could do that. They're a very talented bunch there. Let's face it, the last World Cup, Morocco made it all the way to the semis. And even if, he doesn't, he's going to need time off. He's going to need a rest period after coming back from the Olympic tournament. So we are going to be without him for that substantial period between the 24th of July and the 9th of August. And even I think when he returns, should Morocco make it all the way to the gold medal match at the Stade de France on the 9th, he will come back and need time off as well. So, look, this is a player that we're going to have to do without initially. We're going to, be part of pre-season, but then obviously we'll head off to prepare for the Olympics with Morocco, and then he will be at the Olympic tournament. Hopefully he will come back injury-free. But obviously, once he returns on the 9th, he will need time off to rest and recuperate. Now, the issues around this are obvious. This will slow down his adaptation to the Scottish game, slow down the amount of minutes that Philippe Clement can give him, and slow down perhaps even the involvement in the Champions League qualifiers as well, which will very much leave us depending on Danilo and Dessers, and maybe, you never know, another signing. There could be another one on the horizon. Nothing as much at the moment. Obviously, Albion Rahmani was rumoured. Nothing around that at this moment in time. But, it's going to be something that does need to be addressed. And I do really feel we do need to go out and sign another striker, someone who is more proven striker. Look, I'm not talking about top class, world class, because you ain't going to get them for much under about 80-90 million pounds, something that Rangers don't have. You're not even going to get a very good striker for much under about 12 to 15 million. So again, money we don't have. You could get a good one, but you know, look, that's still looking at what, 6, 7, 8 million pounds for a good striker. So look, I think we do need to invest. We do need to spend. I think, however, that will come after Euro 2024. But obviously, there is an issue over Hamza missing pre-season and the start of the season, as he will be away with Morocco at the Olympics. Like I said, with it's always Rangers. There's always a bit of a hitch. There's always a bit of a problem. Now, one of the things, we did 2 live streams yesterday. We streamed the Turkey-Portugal game. Obviously, Portugal coming out on top in that one. And the Belgium-Romania game. Belgium coming out on top in that game. Now, one of the questions and conversations that came up around that, and we'll talk a little bit about the Scotland game later, actually. We're going to live stream the Scotland game here on the channel as well. We've got a big day of lives tomorrow, so please hang on to the end of the video. I'll talk about what we've got and how you can get involved. Now, we know that there has been an absolute debacle, farce over the Copeland Road stand, over the redevelopments. And I have had some unending stick and absolutely ridiculous comments from that lot across the city as they seek to revel in our discomfort. Even some of their fans calling on Rangers to be fined or to be docked points for the fact their ground will not be ready for the start of the season. But away from that, there is some other issues that we need to address, and 2 big issues for me that need to be looked at. Issue number 1, obviously, is where we will play. Now, we can't use Ibrox because even if we were to close the Copeland Road stand and only use the other 3 stands, then that would leave several season ticket holders out of pocket, several season ticket holders unable to attend the games, and also vastly reduce the capacity of the stadium, which, you know, is not good for match day revenue, is not good for the team, and is not good for the fans, obviously, who have tickets in that Copeland Road stand. So that's a big one. The second, obviously, was that people talked immediately. People's mind turned to using Hampden, but that, as we know, that is not possible. Hampden will be unavailable due to the fact that it will be being resurfaced after the summer pop concerts. Now, the other option is, of course, Murrayfield, where Rangers play their pre-season friendly against Manchester United. This could be a tester, obviously, for those games. Apparently, this obviously does give hints that the board knew there was an issue with this deal way back. Now, we know there's an issue because they've shopped cheap, they've gone cheap, they've bought from Asia rather than going to buy in Europe, which would have cost a little bit more, would have got here sooner. The board did obviously go and shop cheap because, let's face it, we are run by an absolute shower of amateurs who are a disgrace to our club. Now, one of the issues with using Murrayfield is this. Now, at this moment in time, there are, as we know, 2 other SPL teams in Edinburgh, Hibs and Hearts. Hibs and Hearts cannot play at home on the same day because you cannot, for policing reasons, for other, you know, for fans clashing, for lots of reasons, you cannot have teams from the same city playing at home on the same day. So, how do we go about resolving this if it is Murrayfield that we use? Is it a case that one of us needs to play Friday, Saturday, then Sunday? Is that expressed out? But then I can't see Hearts and Hibs being overly happy with having their fixtures moved around. You know, is it a case of then Saturday, Sunday? Again, you know, you've got a situation where one club has to play Saturday, one club has to play Sunday. Again, I can't see them being overly happy with having their fixtures messed around. And I can't see our fans being overly happy with our fixtures being messed around as well. Yes, I know that as a club, we are probably more used to that because of the Europa League. But like I said, there is an issue, of course, that you can't have 2 home games in Edinburgh on the same day. Therefore, meaning if Rangers were to play at Murrayfield in the league, it would have to be on a Saturday or a Sunday, with Hibs or Hearts playing on the other day, obviously, which, you know, obviously we're looking at policing costs there, we're looking at rental costs, all of it, you know, really putting up the bill for Rangers on this one. You know, again, money that could be much better spent on other things, you know, really down to this absolute farce and debacle that the board have put us into over these redevelopments. Now, the other thing, of course, is the fact that there is another option, which is to only play our Champions League games at Murrayfield, where there is no option but to play a home leg. and perhaps ask that all our games at the start of the season are away from home. If we are drawn home against a team, those fixtures are automatically switched and played away. Now, other teams may not agree to this. It puts the club at a disadvantage, having to start the season with, say, 2, 3, 4 away games rather than any home games. That's not great. And it puts you in a position where, you've got some difficult away trips, drop points, get behind that lot. Not the great start to the season we need. So that's another problem. There is a lot of issues around deciding where these games are going to be played. The option I think that will end up being taken is Murrayfield. I think that will be the option that has to be taken, which again is far from ideal, given the fact that Murrayfield is in Edinburgh, not Glasgow. And I've seen, and I know some fans say, we travel from everywhere. And I know you do. And I get that. And we do as a fan base. We do travel from everywhere. But there are fans within the city of Glasgow that have already said to me, like the comments I shared with you the other day, that don't want to, that can't, that it's not possible for them to do that don't want that, or can't afford the extra expense unless the board are prepared to pay compensation to these people. Once again, it's our fans that suffer because our board are just a joke. So, there is a lot of issues. Now, the other issue, obviously, that's coming up from this whole debacle over the stadium is the Champions League. Now, we know that Ibrox on a European night is one of the most intimidating grounds in Europe. Even Roy Keane himself said that. I know he's a Tim, but look, still, him, Gary Neville, they all said that, when they went there with Manchester United, they found Ibrox to be one of the most intimidating grounds. Now, no disrespect to Murrayfield, but for Philippe Clement and his boys, I think, they would much rather play those ties at home at Ibrox. This would put us at a disadvantage. And I know some fans have said, it's a joke, isn't it? It's not really. It isn't really, It's kind of playing an away game, 2 away games. And I know Murrayfield has an extended capacity of over 60,000. I'm sure we can get a nice atmosphere in there, as the Scottish rugby fans do for their games. But look, it's still, not Ibrox. And I think Ibrox has that special magic on a European night, doesn't it? And again, we're taking it away from that. And we're putting ourselves in a less confident position. Now, there's 60 million reasons why we cannot afford to slip up in this Champions League. We must qualify for the Champions League this season. It is an absolute must. There is 60 million pounds, on available, minimum 30 million initially for the club if we qualify for the Champions League. Money we need at the ground, money we need for players, money we need to build this club back up. And we can't continue to allow Celtic to push further ahead of us. And if we don't qualify, they will, of course, because they won the league last season. Unfortunately, they will get all that money. We won't. So again, we miss out. Now, I know people talk about the Europa League being more our level, blah, 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 but the prize money in the Europa League is a joke compared to the prize money in the Champions League. Realistically, yes, we're not probably going to win either of those competitions. So, our focus does need to be winning when looking at winning the domestic treble, but using Europe as a cash cow to raise further funds to build this club up. So, again, it's another reason why we do need to perhaps, look at this and think about how we're going to go forward. It will have to be Murrayfield. It is unfortunate, but once again, it's yet another example of the board clearly letting us down. Now, with the arrival of Hamza Igamane, possibly, obviously, as well, Yusuf Kabadai, that will take officially now to 5 the number of signings in at the club. Jeff Tefte, Oscar Cortez, Clinton Ciala, Connor Barron, Hamza Igamane will also join up with the club on Monday for pre-season training, although Ciala doesn't join up to the 1st of July when his contract expires. So there's 4 players, obviously, who will be there at Auchenhowie for the first day of pre-season. So, it's big changes already, without a substantial number of players going out. Yes, I know we've lost 5. This is 5 kind of replaces them, but the squad is bloated anyway. There is a need to reduce that squad. And there continues, obviously, to be lots of rumours around our players and, still more rumours around Tav and Goldson, who I hope are got rid of as soon as is possible. Other players as well have been talked of. Scott Wright, Cyril Dessers, Matondo, Lawrence, Cantwell even was mentioned. That's mentioned in the video yesterday. So you want to get my thoughts on the Canwell's departure, check out yesterday's video. But look, we've got to put faith in Philippe Clement. We've got to put faith in Niels Koppen that they are moving this team forward in the right direction. They are building a team for the future. Players like Connor Barron, very exciting signing, very good player. Hamza Igamane, again, exciting signing. And Ciala, exciting. Oscar Cortez, quality player. We're building something for the future here. We are looking better, in a better position than we were obviously last season. This is massive. This is huge. And, it is the silly season. And I know some people really genuinely do not like this season, this silly season, this transfer speculation. And some people love it. It's just how it is. But you know what? We'll continue to bring you all the latest news and views from the club on what is always a very, very busy off-season period, an even busier one this season, obviously, with the fact that Rangers are beginning this rebuild. There is still obviously football going on at this moment in time with Euro 2024, which obviously, as I've said, we think is delaying the movement of experienced players. Guys, what I am going to flag up to you is just something that is going on tonight. There is a live podcast tonight, first of all. It's at 7 o'clock. For the final word, we'll talk over all things Rangers, and you can have all your says, your views, your questions, your comments, get those in. And then after that, at 5 to 8, there will be the crucial Scotland versus Hungary game, live watch along. So come and join us for that after the podcast. Well, thank you for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, guys, please subscribe to the channel, help us to build, help us to make this channel bigger and better. And on the way out, 2 things I always ask of you. 1, smash the like. Number 2, remember always, we are the people.